Well, the president must have known that we at Fox Business were going to be covering his remarks tonight because he is going to break down some costs of fighting ISIS tonight. We're told he's going to be asking Congress for billions in the ongoing war against this terror group. Now, would a Tea Party-backed senator like Mike Lee endorse that? The Utah Republican with us now. Senator, we're told billions. No one's putting a final figure on it. But then again, these things go. Would you support that?
I'm waiting to hear what the president has to say. Military action is appropriate only where American sovereignty is at stake or where we've got American lives or American property at stake. I want to hear a message from the president explaining what it is that he'd like to do and how our interests are at stake.
Does that mean, Senator, you believe that American sovereignty is at stake?
Look, I think that this is an evil group, a group that presents a potentially very serious threat to American sovereignty and American security. I do think it's imperative that the president take his plan to Congress, that if the president wants military intervention abroad, he needs to present that plan to Congress. Not just a drive-by notification to a handful of leaders within Congress, but a proposal, a request for authorization for the use of military force to be approved by both houses.
What if he doesn't do that?
Well, if he doesn't do that, then he's got a big problem. Look, there are a lot of things at stake here because we're looking at a very significant financial investment if we do that. We also have to take into account the human cost associated with this kind of military action. We've got to take into account the fact that we'll have to be prepared to provide for the needs of our veterans who might be involved in this kind of action. Now, whenever something like this comes up and the president makes a compelling case to the American people that our sovereignty, that our security is at stake, Congress is willing to act, and Congress has historically been willing to provide presidents with this kind of authorization. But this is why it's so important for the president to follow the Constitution and to get authorization from Congress so that this public debate can occur.
Well, at least initially it says technically he doesn't have to get that, and he's told a number of Republican leaders he doesn't have to get that. They seem to nod their head for the time being and say, well, we'll give you a pass. I'm paraphrasing here, but does that worry you?
Well, of course, the War Powers Resolution and longstanding understandings of the Constitution make clear that if there is an imminent threat to our national security, if there's some kind of imminent action that won't allow the president to come to Congress first, he can order a discreet strike. But he's got to come to Congress very quickly, as soon as possible after that, to get authorization for a longer-term effort.
Senator, good seeing you again. Thank you. Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, very influential on the Armed Services Committee. He could very well be among its possible chairmen if Republicans seize the Senate after the elections. All right, we've got former